boxing truth here. It appeared earlier that the Vasyl Lomachenko Nicholas Walters fight was a done deal, according to Arum in an interview with Fight Hype, I believe. Well, that's certainly not the case. Right now, they're going through some complicated negotiations. As the year progresses, we're finding more and more about the troubling situation HBO is going through. Their budget is very slim right now because of the stock in Time Warner has dropped significantly over the past year, which is affecting the budget for HBO Sports. So, according to Dan Raphael, he was told that HBO offered Top Rank $1 million license fee for the Lomachenko Walters fight. Now, according to the report, Walters was initially offered $330,000 or $50,000, around there, and then they bumped it up to $435,000. But Walters is disappointed with the money. He wants a cool million just for himself, but he's smoking that good stuff because that shit ain't gonna happen. The budget is just too thin, and unfortunately, neither of these guys, Lomachenko and Walters, can fill out a phone booth if they tried. They have no fan bases. So while it's a significant fight, it's a very good fight, contrasting styles, two world-class fighters, two considered to be the top two featherweights in the world, and if they fight, it'll be at 130 pounds. The thing is, these guys are not ticket sellers. They don't put any asses in the seats. So while some may feel that HBO is lowballing them, others feel they're getting what they're worth because of the market value both guys present in this fight. However, this is just a negotiation. This is a negotiating ploy by Walters, and to see if they can get a little more money to be offered. Honestly, yeah, it's a little low, but because of the market value, I mean, what license fee can HBO really offer them? So HBO is going through a transition because now Top Rank, they're gonna have to start putting fights on pay-per-view just to keep their guys busy. They don't want to go through another year where Crawford only fights 2 times a year, Lomachenko only fights 2 times a year. So he's gonna have to go the pay-per-view route, and because of HBO's budget, they're gonna be doing a lot of pay-per-view fights. It sucks. The HBO platform is simply gonna be a platform where star fighters of theirs that they invest in are gonna be fighting guys that will come cheap. So simply opponents like a Tony Thompson or a Hank Lundy, or perhaps cheaper fights, but they're good fights like Salido and Vargas. Now, the only reason why they bought that fight is because there is an upside, and it's because of Francisco Vargas. They want Francisco Vargas to win that fight because there is an upside if he wins. There's a lot of names at 130. Say Loma and Walters fight, the winner could fight the winner of that. They don't want Salido to fight, though. They don't want him to win the fight because he has a bunch of losses. He's up there in age. So that's the reason why they bought that fight, to make some good fights with featuring Francisco Vargas. But for this fight, it'll get done because Bob Arum has nowhere to go right now. He tried to sell the fight to Showtime, but the problem is that Al Heyman runs Showtime, according to Bob Arum. And if a promoter wants to get dates on the Showtime platform, they have to talk to Al Heyman. They have to deal with Al Heyman, and Al Heyman has to give permission to Showtime to allocate some dates to other promoters. It's similar to Eddie Hearn's deal with Sky Sports. It's the same scenario, same shit. So if a promoter wants to get some of his fighters on Sky Sports in the UK, they have to get permission from Eddie Hearn. So they have to negotiate a deal with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has to get his cut. And then and then they'll sign off on it. But it has to be up to Eddie Hearn. According to Eddie Hearn, this is in interviews with Eiffel TV. He stated that he has exclusive deal with Sky Sports. They need any other promoters need permission from himself if they want to be on that platform. Well, it appears the same situation is with Showtime. Aaron flirted with the idea of bringing Lomachenko and Walters to Showtime. He had a meeting with Stephen Espinosa, the Showtime guy, and somebody else, but it didn't appear that they were going. It didn't appear to go nowhere because they had other options on the table. They had a bunch of fights they were about to announce, and also, if they were going to be interested, it had to be more beyond just one fight. So that's problematic, and with the addition of Heyman, perhaps running Showtime, and he's the one that allocates the dates to promoters. So that made it a no-go to bring the fight to Showtime. But these guys, they're world-class fighters, Lomachenko and Walters. It'll be a great fight. It's a great matchup. I believe Loma is the favorite to win the fight. Walters not coming off a good performance. He's looked pretty flat in his last two performances. And Loma, he's been looking good since that first loss to Salido. And because of politics, at 26, he's gonna have to move up for more lucrative fights to find some suitable opponents, because there's no one he can fight at 26 because Heyman controls the majority of the featherweight division. But it sucks that HBO is going through this budget problem. I mean, we're gonna have to be spending fights on to watch these fights, to watch like stars like Kirkland. I mean, to watch stars like Miguel Cotto and Terrence Crawford, perhaps Sergey Kovalev. They're not going to be able to afford Sergey Kovalev's next fight. It's going to be very hard for HBO to just have elite fighters on their network against suitable opponents. Most likely, you're going to be seeing, if they're on the network, elite fighters, it's going to be against 15-1 underdogs and just cheap opponents that come in just to get beat. So HBO's got some serious issues right now. They're talking about a Cotto Kirkland pay-per-view, but there hasn't been any movement on that. They're talking about Crawford on pay-per-view, and they're saying Postal's a possibility, but don't hold your breath. I don't expect that fight to happen just yet, because that fight will bomb on pay-per-view. Seriously. Be lucky if they do 20K. So I don't expect that fight to happen next, but it could be it could be Pagara, the number one contender, or it could be No, it's not going to be Herrera. I have no idea who's going to be, but Postal is a possibility. As for Lomachenko and Walters, they're still trying to get the deal done for June in New York, because they want to put Verdejo on the card so he can bring his fan base to come see them fight. I'm not sure if Verdejo is ready to headline his own event, considering he looked terrible his last fight, and he's not ready for world-class level yet. You could see that he couldn't wow anybody with that performance against Silva. But the Lomachenko-Walters fight, I believe it'll go down, but Walters is not going to get $1 million for this fight. It's not going to happen. I wouldn't mind if Arum put this fight on an undercard of a pay-per-view featuring one of his stars, but it's just not feasible. It's just too much money to pay his fighters. It wouldn't be profitable, so I don't expect that to happen. Other promoters have done it in the past. Don King used to put on some great cards back in the mid-'90s, early '90s. Had a bunch of championship fights. Golden Boy, when Shafir was running it, was putting on Mayweather pay-per-views with solid co-features. So I don't know how the business work, or how it can work like that, but it doesn't seem like Arum. Arum's old school. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, this is a guy who put pay-per-views, and he once said that the people only buy the main event. So there's no need to put a serious undercard on a pay-per-view. So this guy will put Mia St. John fights. He'll put Butterbean on the undercard. I mean, top-ranked undercards in the 90s on pay-per-view were trash. I mean, there was nothing of quality. But he's changed his tune because the market has changed. HBO ain't big balling no more when it comes to boxing. Their budget's very limited. And now, with the Bradley Pacquiao rubber match, he did something he's never done before. He put a decent undercard on a pay-per-view main event because he knows it's a hard sell. People are not really enthused about the fight. So Aram's making some adjustments. He's going against the grain, against the philosophy of undercards don't matter. But he's gonna have it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the next few months with HBO. What the hell is Aram gonna do? He doesn't have True TV anymore. He's gonna have to find other platforms to showcase his fighters to keep him busy. He can't have his fighters only fighting once or twice a year. And I'm hoping the Loma Walters fight goes down. It'll be good. Be a great fight, but the money's not right now. They're gonna have to play a little hardball and get HBO to put down a few more 100,000. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.